The trick. They tricked us.
Do you love being outside, but hate the plastic feel of so-called performance shirts?
So chapter 15, text 20. Iti guhayataman shastram idam yuktan mayanaga itad budhava budhima sayat kritas ka bharata. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. The Lord clearly explains here that this is the substance of all revealed scriptures, and one should understand this as it is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, one will become intelligent and perfect in transcendental knowledge. In other words, by understanding the philosophy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engaging in his transcendental service, everyone can become freed from all contaminations of the modes of material nature. Devotional service is a process of spiritual understanding. Wherever devotional service exists, the material contamination cannot coexist. Devotional service to the Lord and the Lord himself are one and the same because they are spiritual, the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord is said to be the sun, and ignorance is called darkness. Where the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. Therefore, whenever devotional service is present under the proper guidance of bona fide spiritual master, there is no question of ignorance. Everyone must take to his consciousness of Krishna and engage in devotional service to become intelligent and purified. Unless one comes to the position of understanding Krishna and engages in devotional service, however intelligent he may be in the estimation of some common man, he is not perfectly intelligent. The word anaga, by which Arjuna is addressed, is significant. Anaga, O sinless one, means that unless one is freed from all sinful reactions, it is very difficult to understand Krishna. One has to become free from all contamination, all sinful activities, then he can understand. But devotional service is so pure and potent that one is engaged in devotional service, he is automatically comes to the stage of sinlessness. When performing devotional service in the association of pure devotees in full Krishna consciousness, there are certain things which require to be vanished altogether. The most important thing one has to surmount is weakness of the heart. The first fall down is caused by the desire to lord it over material nature. Thus, one gives us transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord. The second weakness of the heart is that one increases the prosperity of the lording of the material nature. He becomes attached to matter and the possession of matter. The problems of material existence are due to the weakness of the heart. Chapter 16, text 1 to 3. Shri Bhagavagan Yuvaka Ahayam Sattva Samsudhir Janya Yoga Biyastit Dhamma Dhammas Ka Yajanas Ka Sahayas Tapa Arjavan Ahishmam Satyam Akrodhas Tai aga santir apas unam daya bushetiv alolupatvan mardavan hir apalam taja kashma ditar saskam ardroham nati namita bhavanti sapandam davivam ahidyasa pararata. The Blessed Lord said, fearlessness, purifications of one existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity and simplicity, nonviolence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion and freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, and steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, freedom from envy, and passion for honor, these transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. In the beginning of the 15th chapter, the banyan tree of this material world was explained. The extra roots coming out of it were compared to the activities of the living entities, some auspicious, some inauspicious. In the 9th chapter, also the devas, or godly, and the asuras, the ungodly, or demons, were explained. Now, according to the Vedic rites, activities in the mode of goodness and considered auspicious for the progress of paths of liberation, and such activities are known as Diva Parti, the transcendental nature. Those who are situated in transcendental nature make progress on the path of liberation. For those who are acting in the mode of passion and ignorance, on the other hand, there is no possibility of liberation. Either they will have to remain in this material world as human beings, or they will descend among the species of animals or even lower life forms. In the 16th chapter, the Lord explains both the transcendental nature and its attendant qualities, as well as the dynamic nature and all its qualities. He explains the advantages and disadvantages of these qualities. The word abhigatasha, in reference to one born of transcendental qualities or godly tendencies, is very significant. To beget a child in a godly atmosphere is known in the Vedic scriptures as Garbhadanhanam samsakar. If the parents want a child in godly qualities, they should follow the 10 principles of human being. In Bhagavad Gita, we have studied also before that sex life for begetting a good child is Krishna himself. Sex life is not condemned provided the process is used in Krishna consciousness. Those who are in Krishna consciousness at least should not beget children like cats and dogs, but should beget them so they may become Krishna consciousness after birth. That should be the advantage of children born of a father and a mother absorbed in Krishna consciousness. The social institution known as Varnashmarma Dharman, the institution dividing society into four divisions or castes, is not meant to divide human society according to birth. Such divisions are in terms of educational qualifications. They are to keep the society in the state of peace and prosperity. The qualities mentioned herein are explained as transcendental qualities meant for making a person progress in spiritual understanding so he can get liberated from the material world. In the Varnashmarna institution, the sannyasi, or the person in the renounced order of life, is considered to be the head of the spiritual or the spiritual master of all the spiritual statutes and orders. A brahmana is considered to be the spiritual master of the three other sections of society, namely the Karshtritas, the Vyasas, and the Sudras. But the sannyasi, who is at the top of the institution, is considered to be the spiritual master of the Brahmanas also. For a sannyasi, the first qualification should be fearless, because a sannyasi has to be alone without any support or guarantee of support. He has simply to depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If he thinks, after leaving my connections, who will protect me? He should not accept the renounced order of life. One must be fully convinced that Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is in his localized aspect of the Paramatama, is always within, that he is seeing everything and he knows what one intends to do. One must thus have firm conviction that Krishna, as the Paramatama, will take care of a soul surrendered to him. I shall never be alone, one should think. Even if I live in the darkest regions of the forest, I shall be accompanied by Krishna, and he will give me all protection. That conviction is called the abhayayam, without fear. The state of mind is necessary for a person in the renounced order of life. Then he has to purify his existence. There are so many rules and regulations to be followed in the renounced order of life. Most important of all, a sannyasi is strictly forbidden to have any intimate relationship with a woman. He's even forbidden to talk with a woman in a secluded place. Lord Kantiyanya was an ideal sannyasi, when he is at Puri, his feminine devotees could not come near to offer their respects. They were advised to bow down from a distant place. This is not a sign of hatred for women as a class, but it is the stricter imposed on a sannyasi not to have close connections with women. One has to follow the rules and regulations of particular status of life in order to purify his existence. For a sannyasi, intimate relations with women and possessions of wealth for sense gratifications are strictly forbidden. The ideal sannyasi was Lord Kantinya himself, and we can learn from his life that he was very strict in regards to women. Although he is considered to be the most liberal incarnation of Godhead, accepting the most fallen conditioned souls, he strictly followed the rules and regulations of the sannyasa order of life in connection with the association of the woman. One of his personal associations, named Kota Hardasha, was personally associated with Lord Kantanya, along with his other confidential personal associations. But somehow or other, this Kata Hardasha looked lustily on a young woman, and Lord Caitanya was so strict that he at once rejected him from the Society of Personal Associations. Lord Caitanya said, "For a sannyasi or anyone who is aspiring to get out of the clutches of material nature and trying to elevate himself to the spiritual nature and go back to home, back to Godhead, for him, looking toward material possessions and women for sense gratification, not even enjoying them, but just looking toward them with such a prosperity is so condemned that he had better commit suicide before experience such illicit desires. So these are the process for purifications." The next item is the Jnana Yoga Bhayatishtith, being engaged in a cultivation of knowledge. Sannyasi's life is meant for distributing knowledge to a household and others who have forgotten the real life of spiritual advancement. A sannyasi is supposed to beg from door to door for his livelihood, but this does not mean he is a beggar. Humility is also one of the qualifications of transcendentally situated person. And out of sheer humility, the sannyasi goes from door to door, not exactly for the purpose of begging, but to see the householders and awaken them to Krishna consciousness. This is the duty of the sannyasi. If he is actually advanced and so ordered by spiritual master, he should preach Krishna with logic and understanding. And if he is not advanced, he should not accept the renounced order of life. But even if he has fully accepted the renounced order of life without sufficient knowledge, he should engage himself fully in hearing from bona fide spiritual masters to cultivate knowledge. A sannyasi or one in the renounced order of life must be situated in fearlessness, sattva, samdhuhi, purity, and jnana yoga, knowledge. The next item is charity. Charity is meant for the householders. The householders should earn a livelihood by an honorable means and spend 50% in their income to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. Thus, a householder should give in charity to such institutional societies that are engaged in that way. Charity should be given to the right receiver. There are different kinds of charities, as will be explained later on. Charity in the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Charity in the mode of goodness is recommended by scriptures, but charity in the modes of passion and ignorance is not recommended because it is simply a waste of money. Charity should be given only to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. That is charity in the mode of goodness. Whoa.
This one's really long. Yeah, we're not finishing it today. So what time is it?
I'll read a little more.
Yeah.
Then, as far as Dhamma, self-control, is concerned, it is not only meant for other orders of religious society, but is especially meant for the householder. Although he has a wife, a householder should not use his senses for sex life unnecessarily. There are restrictions for the householders, even in sex life, which should only be engaged in for the procreation of children. If he does not require children, he should not enjoy sex life with his wife. Modern society enjoys sex life with contraceptive methods or more abdominal methods to avoid the responsibility of children. This is not in transcendental qualities, but is demonic. If anyone, even if he is a householder, wants to make progress in spiritual life, he must control his sex life and should not beget children without the purpose of serving Krishna. If he is able to beget children who will be in Krishna consciousness, one can produce hundreds of children, but without his capacity, one should not indulge in the for sense pleasure. Sacrifice is another item to be performed by the householders because sacrifices require a large amount of money. Other orders of life, namely the Brahmacharya and the Vanaprastha and the Sannyasa, have no money. They live by begging. So performance of different types of sacrifice is meant for the householder. They should perform Agni Hotra sacrifices as enjoyed in the Vedic literature. But sacrifices at the present moment are very expensive, and it is not possible for any householder to perform. The best sacrifice recommended in this age is called Sankirtanya Jama, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the best and most inexpensive sacrifice anyone can adapt and derive benefit. So these three items, namely charity, self-control, sense control, and performance of sacrifice, are meant for the householder. Thus,
here,
okay,
you think?
sure. I wonder if I can highlight.
I think it'll be all right. It'll be on spot. Oops.
Okay. Oh, I think I did highlight it. All right, I'm going to stop share. Oh.
This is my note sheet when we leave off things that I started on chapter 4, and now I'm running out of room. I got 2 more slots left.
There's a back side of that sheet though?
Yeah, but sometimes I make notes, so
Oh.
I think I started a new sheet. I have like a pile of scrap paper, but I'm so stingy with paper. I have to use it like 20 times before I get a new sheet.
I do the same thing.
I think I like grew up in school like so like strict about paper because there were going to be no trees left, but now nobody cares about paper. Like then it was plastic was the big thing, and now no one cares about plastic anymore. When COVID happened, like it was like so much plastic.
I know. It's terrible.
I feel like nobody cares about paper, so I think I'm just so used to being stingy with paper.
Just you and me, Pam. So like we had a couple of things go wrong. We had a leak. Like I woke up in the middle of the night and in the bathroom I heard this thud, thud, thud. I'm like, oh, I must have left a faucet on. So I'm like turning off all these faucets. I'm like, no, it's not the faucets. And I look up and it's coming through like the light fixture.
Oh no.
So it was coming through the roof. So we had that problem. And then like yesterday that they were doing construction work across the street, and the new car that I brought my son to go to college with, like was getting like the cement they were using was just going onto the car as well. So my husband comes home and he's like, we can't have anything. Everything requires maintenance and upkeep and and I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, yes, all material things don't last. Only the spiritual world lasts. And he like
I'm sure he loved that.
Yeah, he was just like, okay, that's not helping.
I thought that when I opened not anything's broken, but there's some sort of black mark on the top of my laptop. And I'm like, I know I always use that example of like, not when they hand you your Apple laptop, like they're like, it's never going to look this nice again.
Yeah.
That's really funny though, with your husband.
Try to use the yoga technique on him. He was like, no, I'm not buying it.
Well, at least it worked for you.
Yeah, it worked for me. I was like, I'm okay.
So I like the part where and I can't find it now, but I want to reread this whole first one.
The first part was interesting, and then it got into like nonsense.
Yeah, a lot of rules and regulations and
yeah,
sex and stuff like that.
Yeah, the first part, I couldn't even like fully digest what I was reading though. I was a little bit confused as to what the message was. in the first part, not after the rules I got.
All I know is that I was listening to the first part, and I agree. It was very easy to listen to. It went right into my brain. Not that I could tell you what it said now. And then the second part, you started reading something, and I thought, wait a minute, I got to read this too. So I had to lean forward and look at the reading thing. And then that was when we started veering into sacrifice and, when to have sex, when not to have sex. And, how you couldn't hang with the spiritual master if you were having lustful thoughts. I thought, welcome to American extreme Christianity,
Or the charity part too. I don't know. It maybe
what
they're
was
right.
Sloka, what was the translation of the first thing? I'm sorry, I don't have my book with me. I'm out on the porch again.
What do you mean the whole?
Yeah, just what's like the 2-sentence translation or the 3-sentence translation of the first one again?
Well, this is 1 through 3 we're reading together, so that we haven't
Right.
stopped. Yeah. So it says, he's talking about the transcendental qualities of godly men endowed with divine nature. So he says fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, nonviolence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from passion for honor. So I guess that's what they're going on to explain these rules.
Well, yeah, except, all of those virtues, who could argue with those virtues? Those are virtues that I sort of, I feel like are esteemed across many, many ages, and they're just, that's sort of what you strive for. And if you can't get there, well, that's what you call yourself on. If you fall down in one of those, you say, oh, crap, I shouldn't have done that, or I should have done this, that kind of thing. And it's sort of, I had the same feeling when we were reading yesterday, which is these are all things to strive for. These are all really wonderful things. But then you shift into, but even if you are doing those, if you don't surrender to Krishna, you miss the boat.
Yeah.
That to me was sort of a repeat of yesterday, etc. Every once in a while, guys, I got to kill my sound because I'm right near JFK, and I'll tell you, Pam, that 3-mile difference between you and me, it's loud.
Yeah, I don't hear them today. Sometimes I do. I haven't heard them lately. The flight pattern must have shifted.
Yeah, bye. This one's going to France, I could tell. Have a good trip.
It's not as loud through Zoom though. I don't even hear it.
I don't hear it at all.
Okay, well then I don't have to turn it off. Okay, good.
Yeah, I really like, you're right. I really like all the things in that first translation I like that list. It's nice.
I thought he mentioned something about like being home. I can't find it.
Being home?
Being
Yeah.
a householder.
I'm trying, maybe I'm like even the last sloka. Like that the Lord was always with you in your heart.
Oh yeah. I remember that. But that might have been in the end of 15. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm looking. But were you guys all on when I gave that turtle example that I learned about in the Gita course?
Yeah.
Sue, were you on that?
What turtle example? Tell me.
Yeah, so in the Gita course I'm taking, there's an analogy that is in the Gita, I think it's like chapter 2, refers to a tortoise. And so what I learned was that, like a tortoise comes into its shell to protect itself, but it's also, that's its home. So when a tortoise is traveling, its home is always with him or her. And so a tortoise knows when to pull itself in, but it also knows when to extend itself out. And I love this idea because right now in my current life right now, I'm having a hard time with Kramer not being here, in the sense that, like, for me, home was where the dog, like, I even have a plaque that said, like, home is where the dog is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to, like, I can practice a lot of gratitude. Like, I can have gratitude for this house, but I don't feel like this is my home anymore. And we are looking to move, like, but we can't yet. We're saving money, and nothing's available, and now is not the time to buy anything. So
No.
we're here, and it's fine. It's like, it's just that shift of like, okay, I just, and I'm like, home is, I'm always home, like, in my heart. So when they were just saying that, I'm like, that's what I have to, like, for me, it makes sense. Like, home is wherever I'm happy. Like, it doesn't just have to be this physical structure I'm sitting in right now. Home is like where Eric is and my friends are. And
I can't find it, Pam.
I know, it's so weird. I swore you read it and then it just disappeared. But anyway, it doesnn't matter. I heard those words today and now it's gone. So
I think it's on the third paragraph. I just lost it again. I see the word home. Oh, wait a minute. We could just search for the word home. Control F. No, doesn't like that. Is this it? Let me share my screen.
I was reading along with you online, but then my eyes were killing me looking at the screen. I had to switch to my book today.
That's why I had to get these stupid blue light classes. Elevate himself to the spiritual nature and go back to home, back to Godhead. For him, looking toward material possessions. I don't know.
No, because I think it was earlier on, and it was saying what the book was saying is pretty much like wherever Krishna is always with you and you're never alone.
Yeah, I remember that, but I don't know where the heck it is.
But I have a really hard time. I still cannot, like, surrender that deeply. Like, yesterday we were talking about faith. Like, that's hard. That's hard for me. I could do it. Like, it was no problem when I had Kramer. Like, that was easy. Like, no matter where I was in life, like that, I felt that was home. So I just gotta, I don't know if I'll ever get there, but according to this book, I don't qualify anyway.
Oh yeah, I'm going straight to hell. This is
What time is it? Oh, it's 8:10 already. All right, so I'll look for it later. It's really funny if you can't find it. All right, let's do some.
It is really funny. I specifically remember reading that too, because it also spoke to me because of all the change that I'm about to take on.
And just like that idea that what you told your husband, like, this is just a material structure. Like, I gotta find my spiritual home. I mean, like, then you find places like Rev that feel like home to me, or you go to someone else's house and you immediately feel like home. Like, you know, when you walk into someone's house sometimes and you're like immediately like, oh, I like this feels good. I'll help myself.
Yeah.
Make yourself at home. And I'm already there. I'm good.
right, and you do.
All right, so we'll take a few rounds of alternate nostril breath. I'll set the timer. If you have to drop early, of course, go for it.
This is such a treat to start the day in a normal.
It's totally, when I couldn't do this on Monday, I was like,
oh, it's really hard for me not to have this in the morning.
all right, so we'll take a few rounds of nostril breathing, lengthening the breath, deepening the breath. Bring your right hand over to the face, close the right nostril with the thumb, inhale through the left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. A few more times on your own breath, adding your locks and retention if it's part of your practice. When you feel ready, you'll exhale out the left side. There's no rush. I'm going to set the timer. You'll join us when you're ready. Bringing your hands together. Namaste. Have a beautiful day, everybody.
Namaste. You too, guys.